And welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Midday News on Global Television. Coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja, I am Sadia Yakubu. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV, channel 365 and Star Times, channels 276. And now the news in details. President Bola Tinubu has directed Vice President Kashim Shettima to visit Kebbi State on Wednesday. Shettima will sympathize with the Kebbi State government and reassure parents and guardians of the kidnapped schoolgirls from government's Girls Comprehensive Secondary School that, in fact, are on the way for their swift release. President Tinubu's special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, disclosed this in a statement. Meanwhile, one of the 25 schoolgirls abducted from a school in northwestern Nigeria has escaped and is safe, as hunters and security forces intensify their search for the remaining missing students. The girls were kidnapped before dawn on Monday when gunmen attacked the government school Girls Secondary Comprehensive School in Magatam, Kebbi State. The school principal, Musa Rabi Magaji, confirmed that the first escapee arrived home late on Monday. However, another student managed to flee immediately after the raid and was not taken. Chairman of the Board of Directors for the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, Dr. Umar Abdullahi Ganduje, has called on the security operatives at the Lagos Airport and other stakeholders to provide the best service to travelers and dispel corruption to improve the image of the country. Ganduje stated these while fielding questions from journalists after facilitating tours of the Murtala Muhammad International Airport, Lagos, said there is the need for major stakeholders at the airport to provide good customer service that will make the airport more functional. He called for zero tolerance of corruption at the airport so that passengers, both local and international, will not be a bad image on the country, adding that security services too should be of high standards so that Nigerians will be proud of the personnel. He commended President Bola Tinubu for providing the agency the support it needed to actualize the objectives of the administration in aviation industry. Ganduje thanked FAN especially for upgrading the facilities at the Lagos and Abuja airport for them to meet the international standard required for the International Service Aviation Organization clarification. Tensions are briefly flared at the House of Representatives as lawmakers clashed over when and how low-key issues surrounding Nigerian electoral laws should be discussed. The exchange came during plenary, raising fresh concern about legislative coordination and attendance. National Assembly correspondent Aniti Patrick reports.
The usually calm plenary session took an unexpected turn when lawmaker from Anambra State, Peter Uzokwe, attempted to raise what he described as an urgent matter affecting Nigeria's electoral framework.
Sit down, Honorable Ifeanyi. Sit down, please.
It is so serious that it is damaging our reputation outside. And let me read it out.
Honorable Ifeanyi.
But before he could advance his points, Speaker Tajuddin Abbas interrupted, insisting that any discussions related to electoral reforms must wait until a special session scheduled for next week.
You shouldn't be talking with anger. This is a simple issue. You should be matured enough to know that this is a serious place.
Despite objections from some lawmakers who cited their constitutional right to raise matters of national concern, the Speaker maintained his position, stressing the need for order and adherence to the House procedural schedule. Shortly after order was restored, House Leader Professor Julius Ihonvbere rose on a personal explanation, this time directing his concern internally. He cautioned committee chairmen against holding committee meetings while plenary is in session, a trend he warned undermines legislative process.
I thought it was important that inasmuch as we appreciate the commitment of our members, particularly those that are chairing statutory committees, to give us the maximum of their efforts.
Speaker Abbas supported the caution, expressing worry over the increasing number of lawmakers absent during morning sittings. From the National Assembly, Anieti Patrick reporting for Global TV News.
Force has shut down the National Secretariat of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) at Wadata Plaza following the heavy tension recorded on Tuesday. Police shut down the PDP National Secretariat on Wednesday after a factions group took over the premises for a battle, forcing intervention due to the security risk. A heavy deployment of police officers from the Directorate of State Services and other security personnel has been positioned around the Zone 5 secretariats. Supporters of both factions were seen drumming and singing close to the venue. APC members and supporters have called on Nigerians to support and encourage President Bola Tinubu. They declared full support, citing major achievements recorded under the Renewed Hope agenda. Again, Ubong Usoro reports.
There was a gathering of party supporters, senior government officials, and pro-Tinubu coordinators in Abuja as the all-registered APC North-South Progressive ARANSP reaffirmed their endorsement of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu ahead of the 2027 general elections. Speaking at the event, Chief Chibuna Obawike, national chairman, highlighted significant accomplishments in housing, where thousands of affordable units are being delivered nationwide. Health, with renewed investments in primary healthcare and subsidized treatment for vulnerable Nigerians, and education, with the full rollout of the student loan scheme for children of low-income families.
Having seen where Nigeria is and progress made so far by the Renewed Hope administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, it is incumbent on Nigerians, our party men and women, to rally around and support his re-election come 2027. The way forward for Nigeria is consolidation of the Renewed Hope agenda for progress, development, and prosperity.
The group also pointed to improvements in agriculture, infrastructure, and food security, describing the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway and other major road projects as evidence of a forward-looking administration. On the economy, they maintained that the removal of the fuel subsidy and the unification of the exchange rate have begun yielding results, with inflation gradually moderating and investor confidence rising. Barrister Murtala Kankai, APC National Legal Advisor, representing the APC National Chairman, further commended strides in security, citing better coordination among security agencies, civil service reforms, which have introduced digital operations, and foreign policy, which they say have restored Nigeria's global standing.
As you are aware, and I have said it yesterday during the Women Forum, that is why the APC is now going around to ensure that we amend the constitution of the All Progressive Congress, so that at least organizations like yours will be given prominence, will be registered, will be recognized.
The group concluded that Nigeria is on a transformational path and urged party members nationwide to mobilize aggressively for President Tinubu's re-election in 2027. Ubong Usoro for Global Television News.
Senate has urged the federal government to recruit about 100,000 personnel into the military to fight the rising killings and abductions of people in the country. These followed a motion of public importance sponsored by Senator Yahya Abdullahi, APC Kebbi North. Topsy Gimba has the details.
Senator Yahya Abdullahi expressed worry about the abduction of 25 students in the government girls' school in Maga, Kebbi State, killing the vice principal in the attack and injuring many. He called for adequate security to be provided in communities while urging the relevant security personnel to ensure the girls are rescued. Senator Yahya Abdullahi urged his colleagues to support the motion.
Maybe by the time the Senate, in its wisdom, agrees with the second reading and it goes to the committee, I think it will be very, very important for us to consider putting the MOFI together with the Sovereign Wealth Fund.
Supporting the motion, former Senate President Ahmed Lawan emphasized that immediate steps must be taken to ensure the safe return of the abducted children. He also proposed that the Senate should find out the funds set aside during the Buhari administration to manage the Safe School program.
Then work with Global Business Coalition for Education was also in Nigeria to work with our leaders to ensure that we created safe education and learning environments in our schools.
Contributing to the prayers of the motion, Senator Adam Oshiomhole, APC, Edo North, urged the federal government to recruit at least 100,000 personnel into the military to assist to secure the entire country.
The capture in our prayer that we want additional 100,000 men and women to be recruited and trained and equipped and well kitted in the Nigerian army to be able to cover the increasing number of population and the fact that we now have more schools that we used to have in 1960, in 1970, in 1980.
In response to the debate, Senate President Godswill Akpabio condemned the attack and urged the federal government and security agencies to prioritize the apprehension of the criminals and ensure the safe rescue of the students.
That we do set up an ad hoc committee to look into the Safe School program funding and expenditure and whether or not it has achieved its purpose in view of this current incident of the kidnap of our school children and the killing of this vice principal.
The Senate observed a minute silence in honor of the late vice principal, late Brigadier General Uba, soldier killed by terrorists for the weekend, and other victims of the attack, while calling for greater involvement for state governors in securing schools, stressing that the need for a collective effort to address the growing insecurity in the country. Topsy Gimba, reporting for Global Television News.
The House of Representatives has raised fresh alarm over worsening insecurity in Zamfara State, following a series of deadly attacks by armed bandits across multiple communities. During the plenary, lawmakers noted that the Constitution clearly placed security and welfare of citizens as the primary responsibility of the government, but insisted that ongoing attacks showed their situation requiring urgent action. National Assembly correspondent Anita Patrick reports.
In the last 2 weeks alone, heavily armed bandits reportedly invaded more than a dozen towns and villages in Zamfara, killing at least 10 people, adopting 130 others and imposing an illegal tax of 100 million naira in already vulnerable communities. In a matter of urgent public importance, Representative Kabir Amadu notes that the attackers, who operate freely on motorcycles, are said to move from one community to another for weeks without resistance and have recorded multiple killings, with farmers targeted on their farmlands. Lawmakers warn that the violence has created a severe humanitarian crisis, leaving residents without food, health care, or security, and pushing entire communities further into poverty. Sponsor of the motion, Amadu, called on President Bola Tinubu to urgently adopt a new security strategy and direct massive operations by the military to end the killings.
The worry is that this demand for 100 million naira in taxes is not only unjust but also unattained for a population already suffering from the loss of life and properties.
However, an amendment proposed during debates by Yusuf Gadi advised that instead of relocating defense chiefs to Zamfara, they should simply be directed to launch extensive operations in affected areas.
The prayer should just request the Minister of Defense, all of them, including the service chiefs, to direct for a robust operation to take place within the affected areas in Zamfara State and other part of the country.
The House adopted the motion and mandated its committees on Defense, Army, Navy, Air Force, National Security and Legislative Compliance to ensure full implementation. Meanwhile, a bill for an act to establish Federal School of Nursing and Midwifery, Uturu, Abia State, and for related matters, HB 2006, by Amobi Oga, passed for second reading.
For a bill for an act to establish a Federal School of Nursing and Midwifery, Uturu, Abia State, and for related matter, HB 2006.
Also a bill for an act to establish National Tomato Production, Processing and Research Institute, Shanono, Kano State, and for related matters, HB 2356, by Yusuf Badu, passed second reading too. From the National Assembly, Anita Patrick reporting for Global TV News.
The Executive Secretary of the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, Architect Sonny Echono, says that private universities are performing better than public universities because the cost of education is more effectively shared in private institutions. He made the remark at the 13th convocation ceremony of Nile University of Nigeria, describing the school as one of the most sought after in the country. Ramsey Enoch Agbo reporting.
The Executive Secretary of Tech Fund, Sonny Echono, delivered the convocation lecture at Nile University 13th convocation ceremony in Abuja. Echono praised Nile University for its rapid growth, noting that it remains one of Nigeria's fastest rising institutions. He also emphasized the relevance of the lecture topic, redefining the Nigerian education system for the 21st century workforce, calling it central to strengthening the nation's education sector.
And as a country, there should be a shared acceptance that education is so important that a significant amount of our national wealth should be committed to education. Because when you give good education to your child, you don't need to worry about that child in later life, because it is the best investment you can give, and the returns on those investments are lifelong.
Echono stressed that education is crucial to nation building, especially in a global era where knowledge-based innovation commands high value in the marketplace.
The integration of technology into the education system has evidently transformed how knowledge is delivered and consumed globally. By embedding technology and entrepreneurship into the nation's educational framework, Nigeria will be able to prepare its youth for global competitiveness and develop a workforce capable of driving innovation and sustainable growth.
In a welcome address, the Vice-Chancellor of Nile University of Nigeria, Professor Dili Dogo, acknowledged the dignitaries present at the event held at the university's conference hall.
Convocation lectures are very important because as graduates do graduate, we always find somebody to shine the light, a guiding light, to help focus them as to the journey ahead and bring out areas that require attention. Thank you and God bless you.
He noted that the integration of technology into the education system has transformed how knowledge is delivered and consumed around the world. Ramsey Enoch Agbo reporting for Global TV News.
You're watching the live broadcast of Midday News. When Midday News returns, Trump unveils fast-track visas for World Cup ticket holders. Details coming shortly, plus business and foreign stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. Welcome back from that short break. And in business, the Benue State government is taking major steps towards full mechanization of agriculture through a new public-private partnership aimed at promoting modern farming and training farmers in equipment assembly and maintenance. The governor made this known during a visit to the Benue State Agribusiness and Mechanization Center, where he inspected newly procured farmer machineries designed to boost productivity and strengthen food security across the state. Our correspondent in Benue State, Felicity Interi, reports.
The Benue State Agribusiness and Mechanization Center is fast becoming a major hub for the assembly of modern farm equipment, as well as a training ground for farmers on how to assemble and maintain the machines they use. Governor Hyacinthe Alia arrives at the center to inspect a variety of newly produced farming equipment as part of efforts to encourage farmers to embrace mechanized agriculture and significantly boost their productivity and income. Satisfied with the progress so far, the governor directs the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security to recollaborate its operations to ensure better results and stronger support for farmers.
With the presence of the mechanization center here, I think we now have everything we need. Again, what this means for the small farmer holders and then the commercial, which is a new trend we're headed to, is the fact that everything is back home here. Everything is back home here. We have the spare parts of the mechanization equipment in here, right here. Our young people are being trained to work on the machineries and to do the repairs ourselves. Like we have suffered so enormously. So I am very excited that we have this center here. It's going to service us. It's going to take care of the small farmer holders' needs. It's going to take care of our commercially driven base.
The Acting Director General of the Bureau for Agricultural Development and Mechanization, alongside private investors, described the partnership as a win-win initiative that will accelerate agricultural development in the state.
We have the hub here that it is a hub where we are putting together, it is where we put together all the implements. We are assembling them here. It's an assembly plant meant for farmers to come and learn how to assemble their plants, how to uptake these tractors and other implements to go into mechanized agriculture. We have a research hub here also to complement to the assembly plant. So it's the two of them will work together to bring results.
The governor then visits the center's administration farm where different crops species are being tested to improve yield and enhance food security for Benue State. In Makurdi, Felicity Ndere reporting for Global Television News.
For instance, South Africa says the surprise arrival of 153 Palestinians on a plane last week indicates a clear agenda to cleanse the Palestinians out of the Gaza Strip and West Bank. The group landed in Johannesburg on a chartered flight on Thursday without departure stamps from Israel in their passports. Uyi Abomofwegbe completes the story.
Reports say a secretive organization named Al-Majid was involved in their travel from Gaza. South African border police kept the group on the plane for 12 hours before President Cyril Ramaphosa allowed them entry on a standard 90-day visa exemption. South Africa's Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Ronald Lamola, said the action is suspicious, one that his country has resolved to investigate.
The Palestinian plane, as to whether there is some shady work and so forth, indeed we are suspicious as the South African government about the circumstances surrounding the arrival of the plane and the passengers that were in the plane. And this matter is a subject of investigation. It is indeed an issue of concern to us.
Lamola also said Pretoria suspects a broader plot by the actors behind these arrivals.
It does look like it represents a broader agenda to remove Palestinians from Palestine.
South Africa, which is set to host world leaders at the G20 summit this weekend, is seen as one of the strongest supporters of the Palestinian cause. Uyi Agmofwegbe, reporting for Global TV News.
And in sports, President Donald Trump has unveiled special fast-track visas for people with tickets to the 2026 World Cup, but his administration warned it was no guarantee of entry to the United States. The United States has promised a seamless experience for next year's tournament, despite concerns that Trump's border crackdown could hurt fans. Trump said, for those who intend to join the World Cup are strongly encouraged to apply right away. That's it on Global Television Midday News. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channels 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using at Global TV NG. I am Sadia Yakubu saying thank you for watching.